with Will Harper from Duchy Coaching, and Will kindly helps our guests prepare for a cycling tour. So I thought I'd ask Will a few questions about how to get ready for an Eat Sleep Cycle trip. So Will, what are your top tips to prepare for an Eat Sleep Cycle tour?
Okay, top tips for preparing for Eat Sleep Cycle tour. I would say the number one tip would be make sure that your training has progressively taken on the characteristics of the tour, i.e. if it is a hilly 5-day tour, you're going to need to have worked on some climbing and some repeatability, i.e. can you produce a similar performance day on day. What you want to do is you want to go and talk to someone like you, find out as much detail as possible about the gradients and the lengths of the climbs that you're going to be expecting, and then just try and simulate that at home. You don't need to go out and do a replica of the entire tour at home. Actually, that would be counterproductive. But can you take little snippets of what you're going to expect during the tour and weave that into your training? And what that means is you get there on event day, you touch down here or wherever the tour is, and you feel pretty confident that you are able to deal with the demands of that tour because you've done it in training. So from a physiological and a psychological point of view, it just sets you up really well. It takes away a lot of that uncertainty of knowing whether you're going to be able to not only complete the tour but have fun. The big thing is that with these tours, like most people can kind of rock up and do one if you're a half decent cyclist, but they are so much more enjoyable if you're actually physiologically ready for them. It kind of often takes it from that sort of survival into enjoyment, and that's what we found in our experience. So I say that would be my number one tip. Am I doing another tip?
Yeah, let's do a second tip. Okay, so another tip for preparing for a multi-day cycling tour.
Okay, so tip number 2 I think is fueling. That is, you can be as fit as you like, but if you aren't putting petrol in the engine, you're not going to get very far. So what we like to try and do with our clients is have them practice their fueling strategy before they arrive. So, are you able to eat around 70 to 80 grams of carbohydrates an hour for like a 70 kilogram male? For a 50 kilogram female, it might be more like 40 grams an hour. But you don't want to be doing that for the first time when you rock up on the trip. Can you practice that in training and then implement it during the week? And you've got to remember, like, you're not only fueling for the day's riding that you're currently doing, you're fueling for the next day. So when you have these like multi-day tours, you've got to keep on top of it. Sometimes you have some stomach issues, you're not feeling that hungry, but you need to find a way to get the carbs in. Because if you don't, if you fall short one day, the day afterwards is going to be miserable. I would say tip number 2 is fueling strategy. Devise a fueling strategy, practice it and implement it in a pretty methodical way, and it will and especially when you get to the last few days of a long tour, it'll be night and day. If you get it wrong, if you get it wrong, those last couple of days can be really quite hopefully this isn't bad marketing, but they can be unpleasant if you get it wrong. But if you actually fuel yourself correctly, the world's a better place when you got some carbs in the tank. So that would be tip number.
Super. So, Will, tip number 3 for preparing for a multi-day cycling tour.
Yeah. So I think tip number 3 is, and this is not only a preparation thing, but this is also, I guess, a strategy point for when you're on the tour itself, would be pacing. What we tend to see is that guys get so excited on day one and they're here in Spain and they've done all their training and they're full of carbs and excitement and caffeine, and they go and absolutely annihilate themselves on day one, which is great fun. However, that can come back to bite you later. So it's about, of course, having fun, and these trips are, all the Eat Sleep Cycle trips that I've done are always amazing fun, but it's about reining in that excitement a little bit on day 1, maybe even day 2, and then if you're feeling good, opening the power up a little bit towards the end of the camp, because otherwise you can have this amazing fun day and then you're like, wow, I'm dragging this fatigue for another 5 days. So ideally, you want to, in training, work out your training zones. What's my threshold? Where are my zones at? And if you can, in that first day, be climbing at zone 2, 3, so you're not burning too much glycogen, not causing too much acute muscular fatigue, that is going to set you up well for the second half of the camp. So pacing, try and stick to it, still have fun, but some sort of strategy that is clear and you try and implement. I think it's a good tip.
Fantastic, good tip, thank you.
No worries.
Okay, so, no, that's really awesome,
Good.
Maybe we can do something like, what's the best prep when you book last minute? So like if you've literally booked with 4 weeks to go, like a challenging approach, arriving in 4 weeks' time to a challenging tour.
Yeah, that's a good question. No, that is a good question, and we get that one a lot. Or sometimes it's like 2 weeks. We've actually had a client of yours who's in that exact position. I think the first thing we do is we are very honest with them. Like, there's no magic. 4 weeks goes very quickly, especially a lot of your clients have other things going on. They have kids, they have busy work. It's not like they can just train. So the first thing you need to do is work out, okay, where are you at the moment? If you're at near enough zero fitness, then there's a bit of calculated risk involved. So then you need to do some quite high risk, high reward training. We'd probably recommend like a 3-week VO2 max block, because that is really the only thing that is going to make a significant difference to your performance in such a short space of time. And then like a 1 week easy taper to make sure you arrive fresh. Nutrition side of things becomes even more important for those guys who have booked last minute and feel underprepared, because if they get their nutrition sorted, nail that, that can make up for a little bit of under preparation from a physiological perspective. The other comments we spoke about as well, like the pacing, that becomes so much more important for those guys as well. Because those guys, they might, even untrained, they might be able to do like an epic first day and first up every climb. But if they are untrained, like recovery is an aerobic process. If they're untrained, they're going to be significantly more tired the next day than the people who have had the 6 month, 1 year run into this thing. So basically everything that we've just spoken about in points 1 and 2 becomes even more important for the guys who have just booked. 3 weeks before the camp or whatever.
So well, it'd be awesome if you can tell us a bit more about the service that you offer at Duchy Coaching. So if I've got a guest that's coming on a trip with us and they want help in preparation, how does it work?
Absolutely, yeah. So the first thing we do is we try and gather all the clients' data. So whether it's saved on their Garmin, Wahoo, anything else you sell in this shop, computer-wise, Strava, Zwift, we get it all in one place. And we try and work out, okay, what type of cyclist are we working with? What are their relative strengths and weaknesses? How has the rhythm of their training been over the last 6 months, over the last year? And then we pair that up against the demands of the event. So if they're doing a 1 week steep cycle tour, and we know that they have a load of long climbs between 20 and 30 minutes, but we can tell from their data that their threshold, for example, is relatively low. We know that we need to start implementing a plan pretty quickly that is going to address that relative weakness if they want to perform to the best of their ability on the camp. So that basically is the foundation of what we do. It's a very personal service where we work out the kind of intricacies and the nuances of your physiology as an individual athlete. We then set you a weekly bespoke training plan. So each session says what you're doing and why you're doing it. We think it's really important that our clients understand the why. At times we're going to be asking you to put yourself through quite a bit of pain. So knowing there's like a rational, some sort of a rational methodology behind that is very, very helpful. And I think another big thing which we do for our clients who are very similar to your clients, and there's quite a lot of overlap, is when life kicks off, when work gets really busy, when the kids are sick, whatever it might be, we get in there and we adjust the plan straight away to make sure that you stay on track and to make sure that your plan sort of fits in this symbiotic nature with your life. Because motivated individuals, we both work with a lot of kind of high achieving corporate types. They think, come rain or shine, I'm just going to do this plan. I'm going to go hard. But actually, so often that's not the right decision. The right decision is to swap that hard session out for an easy session, and then we'll put the hard session in 3 days later when the kids have gone back to school or whatever it might be, and then you stay on track to hit these goals. So long-winded way of saying, I think what we're very good at is ensuring that this plan fits very well with people's differing lives, and each of our clients have paired up with one of our coaches. Our coaches are all fully qualified. They've also they're either current or former professional cyclists. So I think that's a little bit of sort of value add we have. We have some guys who have kind of been there and done it. We analyse training every single day on Training Peaks. Most people are on a sort of middle package, which is unlimited contact, so they've got us at the end of the phone if they need us. And yeah, I think that's probably in a nutshell what we do.
Super, thank you so much.
Good, thank you.
Brilliant.